Let's see. Hello, everybody. Let me see what's going on here. If you're on here, my internet's a little slow today, so bear with me just a minute so I can make sure that we're actually on. There we go. I think we are. I'm just trying to get it up on my phone so I can answer any questions that are out there, but I think we're on. So weird. Let's see if I can get it to do it that way. There we go. There we go. Now I can see your questions and answers. And hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Let's make sure you can hear me. Okay, you can. I can check. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? The glare drives me insane. So I'll be blind for a minute. So while we're waiting for everyone to sign on, how's everybody doing today? It's a nice warm day here in Florida. I'm not even sure. Let me see what I can find out the temperature is. Let's see what it is. Not that muggy. It's 82, not too bad. It feels warmer because in Tallahassee sits in a depression, so all the humidity settles down in there. So thank you, Diane. Sparkle. You've never been to Sparkle here. You should go. They've got the cutest stuff. The cutest stuff. I love their stuff. So yeah, welcome to the Beehive. If you are new, welcome to the Beehive. Thank you so much for joining our group. I always start out by saying we do a lot of work on the baby lock machines, and although even if you don't have a baby lock machine, it's okay because you're still going to learn something. We can all learn something from each other, right? You know, so hang out, see what you can learn. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, bright and springy. It is springtime here, and my nose can tell you all about it. But yeah, so if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining our group. I say this all the time. I think we have the best group, but I'm a little biased, I know, but you know, everybody's very helpful. We are no drama llamas up in here. We love it like that. And so going back to the machines, if you have a brother machine, a lot of this will pertain to you because the baby lock and the brother machines are very similar. So yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. What I can read from here, you are saying some really nice things. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, today we're going to do embroidery basics, but I really, thanks Ernestine. Yeah, the twin needle. I posted up a video earlier this week, and because I do a lot of different things with the shop I work with here in Tallahassee. And we go over different things than just embroidery. I know of this group, we do a lot of embroidery, and we've been talking about doing some more sewing stuff, right? So that's going to be fun coming up. Probably start that next month. And if I have to clear my throat, sorry guys. Pollen, it hates me. So what I do over there is every Friday we do a Facebook Live, and it's Bernina Connection in Tallahassee. There's two Bernina Connections in the country, so make sure it's the one in Tallahassee if you'd like that page and just see what I do every Friday. Right now we are going through sewing A to Z, and we'll be on E next. And I've been having a blast with that with my bosses. Her name's Debbie. She's a genius. We all know that here. She came up with this great idea. And so last week we did double needle. And there's so much you can do with the double needle. I mean, like, seriously. We might think of it as a tool that you're using for serging or for heirloom, but you can really take it into quilting, which I love to do double needle quilting because it looks so cool and adds a lot of great texture. Also, there were some questions arised about, hey, could I use this in embroidery? And I really think you can. I just let me be the guinea pig before you slap a double needle on your machine and go to work on embroidery with it. I have seen it done, but I would like to test it out for you guys because I have a technician near me. So if something happens, meaning he works in a shop, if something happens, it's right there and I can fix it. But I would really love to explore that more with you guys because I think that'd be really cool. And like I said earlier, for the people who don't have Baby Lock or Brother machines, that's a technique you can use on any machine. You can use a double needle on any machine, and it's really, really cool. What else did we do with that? We did quilting. We did some Mexican folded tucks, which I learned from my BFF, Hope Yoder. And so I showed y'all how to use a twin needle with that because it just adds a little bit more pizzazz to it. You can run, thank you guys, like variegated threads through the double needles, and that looks really cool. I didn't do that. I should have done that, but I didn't. So yeah. So let me see if there's any questions. Shanae, thank you. That's so sweet. Girl, you need to come and hang out. There's my bestie Hope. Hey, Hope Yoder. Ankles look great. My elbows look great today. I'm gonna take that from you. Since your ankles look so good, my elbows always look so good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are your Friday classes on the Bernina? Yes, it's on Bernina Connections Facebook page. Now you don't have to join a group. It's all you have to do is like it, and it comes on at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. So do have fine elbows. They're so burny. Oil of Olay every morning. That's my trick. So yes, Shanae, you're not that far away from me. Hello. So yeah, okay. But today we're going to talk about the embroidery functions on our machine because there's so many cool buttons. And even like I said earlier, even if you don't have the type of machine that I have, some of these buttons may sound familiar and maybe you'll get a better understanding of them. The other thing that I want to kind of show you guys is I finally got my manuals in, or I'm sorry, my inspirational guides. Excuse me, I said the wrong word. And I just wanted to show you guys the two that I got in, and I think they're a great thing to have along with your machine. You can kind of use them as a workbook, which is a great way to learn your machine. Now, manuals that come with your machine, those are awesome because you can use those kind of like workbooks. That's how I've learned every single machine that I've ever owned. I grab the manual, I went from page 1 and I touched every button that it talked about. So if it was like the reverse button, I'd be like, okay, even though I know what a reverse button is, I'm going to touch it. So that way, you know, I can get a better understanding of my machine, because as we all know, we spend a lot of money on these machines. Let's learn how to use them. So the first one I did get was my Meridian one, which y'all know I waited so long for this. Even as a baby lock educator, we have to wait too, right? You know, and so there's so many great things to do in here. And even if you don't stitch anything out, it doesn't matter. You're going through the exercises, you're learning so much about your machine. And there is an Altair one. So the Altair one would be basically this guide with a sewing addition onto it. So it's a big help. And then I got the big Mama Jamma, the Solaris guide. Hot dog. Look how big it is. It's so awesome. So you can really sit there and go through your machine and learn everything about your machine through here. And then of course you have great resources in this group. You also have great resources from the other baby lock educators out there that are have amazing pages. And you know, I've got that list up in the files that you can go to each one of their pages and join their groups, because you need to, because they are awesome. So I learned so much. I have to give a big shout out to Missy Billingsley today, because she answered a few questions that I was not very sure of today. So Missy, thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it. But you know, you're going to find a lot of information, and this is not the machine manual. It's something totally different. So get with your baby lock dealer and make sure you get these coming in for your machines. They're there for a reason. They are awesome. So let's see if there's any questions before we get started. And what I've decided to do is, thanks. Thank you, Shanae. Yes, Shanae's put our page up in there. It is a pretty shop. Debbie keeps it like top notch. Like it is like you walk in there in our shop and it's like, whoa, she's very good at designing. Okay. All right. Enough chit chat there. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. So since we have so many new machine owners of new machines, and since we have so many new members, I thought I would go over the embroidery basics again, because you can always learn something. And also, if you have a brother-like machine, and then you know me, I can't remember anything. So we have the Meridian Altair. So there is a like machine for those machines and brother. And then the Luminaire, I think, I could be wrong, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, is basically the Solaris version. And then you have the Dream and the Destiny. So, and then there's the other ones that go down. And really, I don't spend a lot of time with those machines, and I shouldn't say that out loud. However, you know that when you go in there, you're going to look and you're going to see a lot of the same similarities. So this is going to be great for you too. Yeah, they're not free. Buy them from a dealer. That's right. They ain't free, but they're worth every single penny. Okay. I'm going to start on the Meridian, because so many of you have the Meridian or the Altair. And I'm going to go through the embroidery stuff on that. But I am going to jump, kind of like I normally do. I'm going to jump over to the Solaris, because there's a few extra buttons that you have on the Solaris that I would like to show you guys. So if you're thinking about upgrading to a Solaris, then I would say hang on after the Meridian part. And I'm not going to go back over every button again, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to go through the buttons that are a little different and are really, really super cool. So with that being said, I can put my glasses back on. And this is why I'm not wearing them. Can you see that? That's annoying. All right. Let's get us turned around to the camera and let's talk embroidery functions. Yay! I'm so bad at this computer thing. There we go. All right. And of course it's out of focus because, you know, that's how I roll. Just takes me a moment to switch everything around so I can see you guys and see the questions you ask, because I need to know that. Yeah, get some more people on here. Now, if you're inviting friends, I really appreciate that. That's super duper cool. However, just make sure that they answer all the questions to join the group. And there's one, I know this is silly and I should not have to say, or I shouldn't have to say it, but whoa, what happened? Hold on one second. There is one specific question that I am looking for, and that is to make sure that everyone agrees to the no bullying rule, right? Because nobody likes to be bullied. Hi. I told y'all I'm not good at this thing. I'm getting better and better. Okay. That's blurry. Let's make it unblurry. All right, I'm going to do one more thing and I'll be right back. All right, I wanted to turn my fan off because it's getting a little chilly in here. All right, so let's talk about embroidery functions and what does that mean? Well, basically, all I'm going to be doing is talking about some cool things on your machine. And if we take a look at our screen right here, oops, I should wake it up. If you're working on a baby lock or a brother, your screen's going to look somewhat familiar to this when you turn on the machine, and let's say you had sewing added to this machine, or this machine, it has sewing as well as embroidery, you're going to see another icon that basically will allow you to go to sewing. However, we're going to be working just in the embroidery. We're not doing any IQ today, but we're just going to be working in the embroidery screen today. So let's talk about all the cool features that we have. Okay, so when I select embroidery, the first thing that you're going to notice, no matter what your screen looks like, is you're going to come up to a screen that's going to have your beautiful built-in designs, and they really are a lot of fun. Before I really started exploring my machines, I never really used the built-in designs because there's so many gorgeous designs out there. And I had so much fun playing with those, but I'm like, well, you know, these designs are here, so let's take a look. And I started using these a lot, and it really does, there really are some really great designs in here. And usually what you'll notice is you'll have an exclusive part. So right here it says exclusives. And the exclusives are basically just those #1 designs that are in there. They're going to be the same across every like machine, meaning the Meridian. Every Meridian is going to have the same designs. Every Solaris is going to have the same designs. Now, not every machine will have the same designs in the sense of the Solaris will have different designs than the Meridian, but that's okay. It's kind of like we're in a special club when we have different designs, right? So what you'll see is you have exclusives, and down below that you'll have a, like if you have another folder, your folders may be down here. If you have another folder, it may just be some additional fun designs. And if you have a Destiny, they may be something like Nancy Zeman designs or something like that. So these are special designs here. And you can see if I tap on them, these are almost like a little grouping. Let me darken that up a little bit so we can see it better. Oh, that's much better. So they might be a grouping of kind of the same like design. So this looks like a red work floral. Let's go back to that. This one right here is going to have some, and these may have been designed by a specific designer. Unfortunately, I don't know who did, but you know, these are really, really cute. I love these little designs in here. This one even looks like a beehive. What? And then if I go into #3 here, I can see I have even more designs. And these right here could be pretty much considered like a quilting type of design. If you wanted to do like a whole quilt, a whole cloth quilt, and you just wanted some beautiful designs on there, then and not anything real heavy, then these would be really pretty. It almost gives it like an heirloom feel. So there's a lot of those cool designs on here. This one's really pretty. I just noticed that. I think I'm gonna have to come back and play with that one. My stylus is, I ordered this from Gloria Horn Sewing Studio. So Shanae, you may want to check that out. The next one that you'll notice that you have is a script. So these are, and you may have two folders of scripts. Now let's talk about that, because the first one that has like your basic font looking, this is the one I want you to think about that you can make words out of. So making quilt labels or just adding a name or something like that, you would want to use these. And I'll jump back to these in a second because I'm going to jump to 4, because these are going to be your large fonts. You could still spell out a name, but they're going to be so large, right? So what you might want to do is come in here and you might have to, you're going to check the size, make sure you can spell out a name, see which hoop you're going to use. But if you get any bigger than your bigger hoop, you're going to have to rehoop. And that's fine too. I mean, we can do it. We're good, right? So basically in that 4th little column is going to be basically your big designs. Okay, but let me go back to our fonts, because depending on which machine you have, you'll have a multiple different fonts. And a lot of the fonts are the same throughout the machines. So you may have like these top 3, maybe even like these top 6 here. And you'll always have an exclusive script. And what that is, this is the Baby Lock exclusive script. And it's just this really pretty, delicate script that you could spell out a name or make a monogram with. So if I were going to do Diane, I could just come in here and do Diane. There we go. Look how pretty that is. That exclusive script is really, really, really nice. So I'm going to return. So you'll always have an exclusive script and you'll have different fonts depending on which machine you have. Now, again, but the fonts are going to be pretty much the same throughout Baby Lock. I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me for my allergies. I'll show you which one's my favorite. I love this one, number 10. It feels more modern, and I really like that. And it's really pretty when you do uppercase, lowercase. And this one right here is so cute because it reminds me of like a candy shop. I don't know why. It's just like, you know, just not circusy, but just kind of fun. So I really like that. The next thing that you're going to have is in your machine, you will have, and I believe this is pretty much almost over all the Baby Locks that have embroidery. Now, I could be wrong if the Verve, I'm not sure if the Verve has it, but I'm going to say, let's just say most of them. And you'll have these shapes, and these shapes are great. And they actually are called frames. And that's what they are, they're frames. But you can use these kind of like appliques. So you can really kind of play around with these. They're really, really fun. You have circles, you have squares, you have diamonds, ovals, rectangles, skinny rectangles. This one's cool, a shield. Almost looks like a pocket. You even have a shield that's even a little bit more rounded. And of course, who doesn't love hearts? And of course, we have hexes, which is really cool. So if I wanted to use this guy right here, I just tap on it and then I can add a name or a little design in there and I'm good to go. So those are really cool to play with. Make sure you play with these. Even if you don't stitch them out, just play with them. Now we get down to this one right here, and I'm not sure which machines have this, but definitely on the Altair Meridian, and I'm pretty sure the Destiny and the Solaris. And these right here are super cool. So what this is, these are embroidered decorative stitches. So we know we can use on the sewing side our decorative stitches, but some machines will have your decorative stitches built in as embroidery, which would be really cool to use if you are embroidering or if you're going to put like a decorative stitch down I don't know, the top of sheets or something. And you're like, well, I just don't feel like sitting there and sewing. Well, just build it. And I'll show you how to build one here in a little bit where you can just make it a border and stitch it out. Move it when it's done. You move the hoop up, or you move the fabric up in the hoop, and then you just go about your business. To me, it would be a lot quicker, and you're going to be straighter. So you have all these to play with. Aren't those cool? I think those are really fun. And all the really beautiful ones are in here, like love, love, love. I love hearts. So where'd it go? It keeps moving on me. I love hearts. So this heart one is really pretty to me. You know, so you've got a lot to play with. Now back in that screen, what another cool thing is, guess what? We have buttonholes. So, Julie, I'll do that for you. So right here are your buttonholes that you can stitch out. So say like I have a little girl's dress and I want to put buttonholes down the back of it. Now I could go and stitch out each one. Why not go ahead, set up equal distance, like 4 of them, and then put the back of the dress on there and let it do it for me. I mean, come on, so much easier, so cool. And let me grab one right here. I'll just grab this one and hit set. So there it is right there. Now they are pretty large, but let me go back and let's go back to that really quickly. We'll do a quick lesson on that one, on these real quick. So if I go back to my little guy right here, my buttonhole, I have 3 sizes. I have really big, which would be great for large buttons for the backs of pillows or I don't know, bags or something. I could make it smaller, or I can even make it smaller that way. And you can see it's about, you know, about 2 inches. So it is going to be a little bit bigger than you think, but unfortunately, let's see. Yeah, we can resize it a little bit. So we can make it a little bit smaller. But what I wanted to show you here is I am going to go back to here and just rotate this little guy here. Okay, so I've got my buttonhole up, and I'm going to put the normal size back on and rotate it. I've got my buttonhole up, and maybe I want it to be a decorative buttonhole. What? What do you mean by that? Well, I'm just going to select add and go back to my buttonholes and come to this little guy right here. So see these? These go around your buttonholes to make cute little designs. How cute is that? So I love this one, but I need something that'll kind of give it here. We'll go with this one. And I'll hit set. And if you can see it right here, all I would have to do is rotate it and move it to where it kind of hangs out around the buttonhole. And you might, if you're using a larger one, you might have to, let's zoom in so you can see it. If you're using a larger buttonhole, you might have to raise it, but look how pretty that would be on a shirt. So you could stitch these out, group these, copy them, and make a bunch of them going down the front of a shirt, and that would be so pretty and delicate around your buttonhole. So cool. I think that's a really great feature in our machines. Okay, I know I walked through that fast, but you can always rewind this and rewatch. However, I'm going to kind of move on here. So you may see that down, stop it, Anna. You may see down here that you have a few different icons. You might have an IQ Designer, which means that that would take you to IQ Designer. The next thing is you'll have some sort of, you might have a pocket that has an arrow going out of it or something like that. That's basically your memory. And that's where you have saved something before. So let's tap on that and let's see if I've saved anything in here to my embroidery memory. A lot. So I've saved quite a few stuff. And to me, that really doesn't matter. But let me show you a trick, okay? So if you are one of those people that likes to have your machine completely clean, I get it. What you can do is you should have, and I'm going to assume that some or most machines have some sort of deleting mechanism. But on the Meridian, it's right here. So I'm going to tap that, and it's going to say, okay, Anna, just tap which ones you don't want. So that's easy. I'll just go okay and okay. And then I can zoom around and go, okay. Oh, these are so cute. I really don't want to delete anything because I don't remember what I was doing. Right here. Oh, I think I need to save that actually. So I'm going to unclick it because it happens to say Chipola Nursing. I guess I was doing something for my niece there. Um, and I don't know. And this one right here. And there we go. So stop it. There we go. And then I can select the word delete. And it's going to say, are you sure about that? And I'll say, okay. Or I can delete it all. I can go select all and delete. So, which is really quite nice. Select none. There we go. Which is really quite nice because you can clean up your machine if you want to. Now, do I know how many designs you can keep on here? Off the top of my head, I do not. So I'm sorry about that. I just don't know. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the regular screen here. Now, if you have an Altair or a Meridian, you're going to see a Wi-Fi symbol. And if you tap that, what happens is if you have saved anything, or if you have sent over a design, let's say from palette 11, it would be here. The next icon, of course, oh, okay. Oh, I guess I should get a USB stick, right? Because that's, oh, it's right here in front of me. Let me put that in. Because I do have designs on here that I'll just kind of go through. Okay. So if I want to use whatever's off my USB stick, all I have to do is select that, and then there's my designs right here. So I have some cute little frames. There we go. I would just pull it up and hit set. So that's how you do that. Now this one's the extra USB, and this is where you plug in your mouse if you're going to do that, but you could take a USB stick and put in there. I don't know why you would want double, but hey, you do you, girl. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Now that we've went through what this first screen is all about, and it happens to be a computer USB stick. Yes, I kind of have a couple of those. So let's go ahead and select as a design. We're going to start with the designs first, and then we'll get into lettering, and then I'll show you guys how to do the border function. Okay, so let's see. I do love the Asian collection. I think it's absolutely beautiful and stunning. Some gorgeous designs in here. So what I'll do is select this little flower right here. And generally when you select something, it's going to show up on your screen. So what you may want to do is, I'm sorry, that was the wrong thing to say. So when this design gets pulled up, you're going to notice it's going to tell you a few different things. So depending on what machine you're on, it's probably going to tell you what the size is, how many stitches there are. It may tell you the time, which is really cool to know. But let's talk about embroidery time. Is it exactly going to take 31 minutes to stitch this out? No, it's going to take longer. And let me tell you why. So if you're setting your watch for 31 minutes, I would give yourself an extra 10 minutes. And this is why. It's because we have to stop to change colors, right? And maybe a thread breaks. So don't take that to complete heart, but that's the guesstimation time, okay? And then how many thread changes you're going to have. So this one has 8 different thread changes. So ta-da. Now, this right here, if you're looking on conspiracy, there's a time to lie, always lie. Look, Shanae, you crack me up. Okay, so this right here, all this is this is not going to affect anything. It's just going to show you what your design would look like on a medium background or a dark background. And why is this important? Well, let's say we have a in the hoop white lace design and they digitized it in white. the best thing to do so you know what it's going to look like is when that design comes in, you're not going to be able to see it, right? So you can put it on the darker screen to see, oh, okay, that's the one I want. So that's why that's there. And I think that's a great little function there. Also, what we'll see here is we have the colors and about how much time they're going to take. So like this first color right here is 19 minutes. The rest, a lot of these are 1 minute. We've got a 3 and a 5 and a 2. The other thing on this screen here that you can do is flip the design. Now, we don't see a big flip in this one because it's almost kind of symmetrical. No, it's not. You know what I'm, girls, you know, girls and gentlemen, you know what I'm saying. So I'm just going to flip it back. So you kind of have that possibility right in the front screen if you want to. And you can always set your time. So if you want to set your time, you just tap on it. And let's say Anna needs to change hers. There we go. You do have to change it with the sign of the times, or at least mine does. There we go. You can do that. Now let's hit set. We pulled up our design and we're going to hit set. Now we're in the embroidery edit screen. So the very next screen, you always want to think of this as your editing screen because this is where I can make the magic happen, right? I can come in, I can adjust the size, I can add things to it. I can have a lot of fun with this, and especially with the Altair Meridian or the Solaris or the Destiny. There's so many cool things you can do. So again, it's going to tell me size. It's this right here, this is cool. So this is really a good tool right here. You might just be like, whatever. But if I take this design and move it over here, and I really like it there, but something happens and it moves. Okay, I really like it here. And what you may want to do is kind of note that right there. So maybe take a quick picture. If you're designing something big, take a picture of this right here so you know where that design is. Because what if this accidentally happens? But then this accidentally happens again, and it just keeps going, and something weird just starts happening. Yes, we can use our move back button, but sometimes we may want to just make a note of that. Don't have to, just know that it's there. So this is telling me the exact position of where it's at. So it's at a 0.407 by 2. And I am not good with directions, so I don't know the actual term for that. But at least I can see that if I want to move it and kind of get a good idea of where I like it, I can kind of take note of these if I want to. Now I'm going to come back up here to edit and put this back in the center, and we'll go over that in just a second. All right, so the other thing that's up here, right here, this is your IQ positioning information. So that should already be set up on your machine. If it's not, I think I've done videos on showing you how to do it. If not, we can always make another video. This little guy right here, this little hoop is super cool. So let's tap on that. I suggest using this. And don't worry about the hoop size. What this is just giving you the view of where it's going to be in conjunction with your hoop. So I can zoom in if I want. I can zoom out of my design if I want. I can change my hoop size, say, okay, you know what? I don't need that big old hoop and waste all that stabilizer for this one little design, right? So what I can do is I can try the different hoops that come with the machine. Let's put it that way. So I can go all the way down to a 4x4. Okay, I have plenty of room. Now that's not going to really set it in your machine. It's just giving you a visual. So, but here's the best part. The best part. Diane, you don't see the color brightness type thing. Diane, it may be in a different part on the Solaris. So, yeah, because Diane, I'm doing that on the Meridian right now, and I'm going to jump on the Solaris in a little bit, and we can kind of go over those things. Okay, so because some things are in a different place on each machine, right? I mean, that's just kind of how they do things. All right, the coolest part of this, You ready to watch this? See this little needle with this little play button? Let's tap it. This is your redraw. So basically you can see in real time how things are going to stitch out. So if you're wondering what color is going to start first, you can always basically watch and just make sure you have everything lined up. I don't know. It's helpful. So if I push play, watch what happens. So your slow redraw. Now, if you're used to embroidery software, you know you have this function. And it really can be very, very helpful. You can make it go a little faster. So this is what's going to happen with the first color. It's going to lay that big foundation down. Then it's going to build on top of each other. And that way you kind of get an idea of how your design's going to stitch out. I think that's fantastic to have inside of my machine. I don't have to take this design over to an embroidery software to see how this is going to stitch out. This is like game changing right here. So if I was happy with that, I'm just going to say okay, and it brings me back out to my embroidery edit screen. The next thing that we're going to look at is right here. So with baby locks and brother machines, what you have are the hoops shown here. Now, if this design, and we're going to go over size in a minute, but let me do something. Okay, if this design was too big for a specific hoop, that hoop is going to gray out. So we can see, so this is the 9.5 by 14. This is the 9.5 by 9.5, my all-time favorite hoop in the whole entire world. And then the 5 by 7, and then the little grayed out one is the 4 by 4. Why won't it fit in the 4 by 4? Because I made it bigger right here. So you can see that it's too small. And what's really great is you'll always know what hoop this is going to fit in because that little 4 by 4 is grayed out. Is this just for built-in designs? No, girl. No, girl. Janet, can you tell me what you're talking about? This is not on my meridian. What is not on your meridian? And make sure you're not in the embroidery. Well, no, that should be there too. So it should be right up there if that's what you're talking about. Okay, so let me put everything back to regular. Yes, you can use the replay feature with any design, and that's what's so cool. Love it. Pretty much almost anything you can do, I'm going to show you today, you can do with any pre-bought design or built-in design. Showing the stitch out. So Janet, so you have this hoop, tap the hoop, and then you have to tap the plus, or this little thing right here, and then hit play. Okay. All righty. So now what we get to come into is, let's see, we've done that. Oh, then we have, of course, we have our zoom features. So always use your zoom features. Those are great. So that way you can really get in there and see, especially if you are combining designs. And we're going to go through combining designs here in a little bit. Okay. Another great feature we have is this edit area. So you'll want to select edit. This is different from layout. Okay. If you see the word layout, that means you are already in the embroidery screen and you need to back up. So if you see the word layout, that means you are in the embroidery screen and you need to hit return. Yes, yep. The Altair and the Meridian are the same exact embroidery part, exact same thing, absolutely. All right, so once I selected edit, I have some great features here. So one of my favorite all-time features in the whole entire world is inside of the size button when it comes to the Meridian, the Altair, the Solaris, the Destiny, and there is one more machine, and it's just not hitting my brain right now that this is in. And of course, the multi-needle. It's in the Venture. I'm not sure if it's in the Intrepid, but I can find out. However, if you push the size button here, it looks like a normal screen, right? So we have And here's the thing with sizing inside of your machine. Now let's take a minute to talk about this. So resizing in your machine, in general, you cannot go 20, or you can only go 20% larger or 10% smaller. And why is that? Because the machine, unless it has a digitizer built in, cannot fill in the stitches or take away the stitches. So if we blow up a design, if we had the ability to blow up a design 30 to 100 or whatever, 100%, and we were to do that with this one and it did not have stitch recalculation, then what you're going to have is holes. Now think of that in the reverse. If we take the design and shrink it lower than 10%, all these stitches are going to stack up on each other, right? What? That would look ugly and you would be very, very, very unhappy. And then you'd send me a message and go, Anna, what in the world? And I'm gonna be like, oh, let me tell you. So that's why it stops at 20 and it stops at 10% for smaller. But magic button is this little guy right here. So see the little zigzag with the arrows? For the longest time when I was out and about teaching, and I wasn't teaching machines in particular, I was teaching embroidery designs, I was teaching how to do projects with my friend Hope, and we were doing all that. I always wondered what that button was until I got educated. So let's tap that. And then we're going to say, okay, this doesn't even matter. Just say, okay. Because now what I've done is I've turned this design into a digitizable design because the Altair, the Meridian, the Solaris, the Destiny, and one other machine that I can't remember all have IQ Designer built into it. Those of you who have brothers, you have My Design Center, and those are basically kind of think of them as digitizers, right? So what does that mean? That means when I blow this design up, I can blow it up to 200% bigger with stitch recalculation, or I can make it 60% smaller with stitch recalculation, which means it's either going to take away stitches or it's going to add stitches, which is genius. Okay, so now that I've pressed that button, so watch this, I can go 60% smaller. So that's 2.18. So it's going to take away stitches that I don't need, or I can make it this big, 200% larger. Sorry, my arm's in the way, but here we go. Yeah, that's a little better. It doesn't stop. It keeps going. And now that thing is almost 8 inches. What? How cool is that? Yes, Darlene, it is all the designs. So that means I can bring in one of Hope's designs, one of Zandra's designs, one of OESD's designs, Itch to Stitch, everybody's, a bit of Stitch, anybody's designs I can bring in, embroidery designs, and look, I'll show you. So you know it's true. So I'm going to go to my USB stick and I'll grab one of these floral wreaths and I'll hit set. I'll go to edit. I'll go to size. I'll select my magic button because I don't really remember what they call it. So I call it the magic button. I'll say okay and watch. So I can make this as big as 200%. So that means that'll go up to 7.5-ish. Or from the original size, I can make it 60% smaller. So I can make a really cute little one. And it's going to do all the work for me. I don't need software. Is that not stinking cool? I use it all the time. All the time. Actually, when I resize pretty much anything, even if it is just a little bit, I go ahead and select that button. So that way I know my design's going to come out perfect every time. Now notice you have proportional buttons. What that means is when you shrink or expand a design, it's going to do it proportionally. Or you have the unproportional button. So I can give it a, oh, that's trying here. Let me, let's get it back to normal. Okay. So what that means is I can squish it back to normal. This is the back to normal button. Okay. I can stretch it out. so I can really play with it. Okay, Julie. Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so Julie White made a great point, and she is so right on this because I don't know a lot about the Disney designs because I don't have a brother, but this is what Julie said. The built-in Disney designs on her Stella Air are not edible, nor can they be saved anywhere but the machine. So she's so right on that. And let me forewarn everybody in here. Brother is the only one who can sell or use Disney designs. The ones that you see out there on Etsy or whatever, those are illegal designs. So be very careful if you try to make something and then sell it with a Disney design. And even the designs from Disney on the brother, you cannot sell them. Disney will come, and I have to say this, and I'm not being crazy, is Disney has gone after a lot of people for that. So just be very careful with that. And that's why, Julie, that the Disney designs are not edible because Disney says, nope, you can't change them in any way. And so, but they're really cool to have, aren't they? They're really cute on the brother machines. I mean, like super stinking, like I'm like so jealous. They're so cute because I love Disney. Okay. All right. So let me put this little guy back to its normal size here. Now down here at the bottom, you're going to find move icons. They'll get you. You can use the little move it buttons here on your screen. You can also do this. And on some of the machines, that means you can grab, let me see if this one does it. I thought I could do the size thing with this. Oh, I can. Okay. You can also grab the red handles and do the resizing this way if you want to. That little dot's always going to be your center. And then okay when you want to back out. The next screen or the next little button is the move key, and that's all it is. That's all that it means. It means it's going to move you around wherever you want to move or center. Rotate, same thing. That's all that it means. It means you can rotate your design however you want. But what's really cool about this is you can go in minute increments. So even 0.1. So if you're really tweaking something, you don't have to go this big jump and be like, oh no, you can really go in there and get really nice and tight in there. You do have a flip button here. And remember, we had that in the beginning. This little guy, and those of you who use my design center or IQ designer and you've made things with me before, you know we've used this. That's the duplicate key. So we're going to tap it. Let me try it again. Oh, did I already? Oh, I tapped it too many times. The thing about it is it's going to, let's do that again. Okay, so if you tap it, you're like, what happened to it, right? Go ahead and see if you can pull it off, meaning touch onto the design. And if a second one comes off, then there you go. So that's your duplicate key. So I'm going to back that. And if you ever mess anything up or feel like you have, or just want to get something off the screen rather than hitting delete, just back it up. Okay. Density is something I personally never play with, but you can totally play with that if you'd like. I have found that most designs come out really nice, but if you're having trouble with a design, you can always play with your density. I'm not going to tell you no, but a lot of times I'll say I never play with density. If you overlap it, how will you know? Good question. You have to, let's watch, overlap, you have to at least just try to move it. So let's put it that way. I tap the overlap button, and then what I have to do is go, okay, did I? Okay, I did. That's exactly how you do it. Okay. So density is something that's kind of a weird subject with me because a lot of times the designs that I've used before, I haven't really had to mess with them too much. So if you're having troubles, you can always try that. I would say stitch it out first. If you're unsure about a design, stitch it out on another fabric first before you go and put it on that beautiful handbag or that beautiful shirt. Take a look at it first. Don't if you're just unsure of where it came from and who, you know, and it's not it may be a reputable company, but you're just not quite sure, just stitch it out first. Just, you can stitch it out on stabilizer if you want. I just take muslin or something like that with a stabilizer, the right stabilizer for muslin or whatever I'm going to use, and stitch it out. I know you may be thinking, well, that wastes thread. Really, it doesn't waste thread. I mean, it does a little bit, but it's better than messing up your beautiful shirt or your beautiful bag or whatever you're going to embroider it on. What if you want them to overlap? So if I need things to overlap, like this, you're still going to have the stitches underneath, if that's what you're asking. That's a digitizing software that'll take the stitches out underneath, but here it won't do that. Okay. The next one is your border function, and we're going to come back to that. Okay. We're going to use that a little bit later. This little shield right here is your applique function. So I had an applique, or we did a stamp, or actually, excuse me, let me take that back. That's called the stamp feature. The stamp feature. And we did a video on that, so it is in our repertoire videos. You can always go back to that. But basically what that does is if I press it, it's going to add like a little applique around this. And you can keep, oh, one too many. It's going to add those 3 lines you need for applique. Okay, so it's going to put your placement line, your tack down line, and then also your finishing stitch. You cannot change on this one the finishing stitch. You would have to do something different over an IQ Designer to do that. Okay, so let's get that off. I think I have, there we go, there it is right there. Okay, this guy right here is really cool. So this is kind of your color area. This is where you can go in and change the colors of your stitch outs to be, or excuse me, the color of your flowers or whatever to be different. If you did not, and Dory, you just popped up that question right when I touched that screen. So let's talk about those blue flowers. What if you didn't want to do blue flowers? Well, you can change it. So let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about embroidery colors. When something is digitized and they need everything to be different colors, they're not going to put the same color. So if this green right here, they really needed green to be the vine, they're not going to put the same green. And they want you to use a darker green because it's all going to stitch out at once. But remember, you have control over your colors, right? You don't even have to go through this if you don't want to. Because when the machine stops, guess what? You take off the thread, you go over to your thread color board, and you put whatever color you want on there. So does it really matter what it looks like on the screen? No, unless you just want it to see, or unless you just want to see what it's going to look like with a different color. So this is how you do that. So see the blue flowers? Let's say we wanted to turn them orange. That's a good color, or purple. Let's do purple, a little better. So what I want to do is look for those flowers. If we see right up here in the screen, the first part that's going to stitch out on this is these green leaves. If I tap the next color, it'll be the vines. The next color is going to be part of the flowers, part of the pink flowers, part of the pink flowers, part of the pink flowers, but it ends. Well, I have these arrows right here. So let me go down one. There's another part of the pink flowers. I'm going to keep going, part of the pink flowers. And now we have our blue flowers. So what if I want to see them in a different color? Well, that's easy. I just go down to my color chips and I pick an orange color. So let's do that one. And now they're orange. And I go, okay, I'm fine with that. That looks pretty cool. You know, so I could leave that, or I could go down to purple. Since this is kind of more springy, let's go look at a purple. Getting better, much sweeter. So, you know, that's up to you if you want to change the colors, right? Because you have complete control when you're embroidering your design. You can put any color on your machine that you want to. But this is a way we can have a lot of fun. Now, the next thing in here is color visualizer. And I think this is something that is underused, but okay. So my husband's let me know that him and the dog are going walking. So that's funny. Okay. So this is a little tool that gets underused because you can really have a lot of fun with this. So let's tap on the color visualizer. And what this is going to do is mix things up for you. It's going to show you your design in different colors to just see if that's something you might want to do. Say you might want to do something more monotone or a little bit softer or even brighter. All you have to do is it's going to tell you what colors or how many colors you have. You can change that. um, you can even change your thread. Now, I do mostly use Floriani here in my sewing room. So I've got it set to Floriani. So I know if I like that color, I can go over to my color wall and pull up off number 1602. But let's select the random. And what I can do is just, I can sit here and pick out colors that I want it to use, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to push OK. And what it's going to do is randomly fill in colors for me. So I'm going to go, nope, there we go. And let's say I really liked one of them. Let's say I really don't like any of them, but let's say I liked this one. I can put a little heart on there. Oops, I can tap the little heart and it'll save it for me when I go to refresh. And I can keep refreshing till I find one that I really like. Now, I'm not digging any of these colors, so I'm going to cancel. I'm not sure, Pamela, if Floriani's listed into your machine. So probably not if it's not actually listed into your machine. So what if I wanted to, now let's say I wanted to use specific colors. So maybe an aqua, let's flip on this one and let's do aqua. Wait, no, there we go. Yep, there we go. Tap it back on. Come on, there you are. And this one, I want to use this aqua. You know, you can change it up to see what it's going to look like. But let's go back. Oh, you can do it. That's manual. Now, if we go to auto, we can just push OK. And now look at all these cool colors coming up. But what I like about it is there's different tones. So I can go to vivid and refresh. And let's say I like this one. Ooh, I can look at it up close. It's kind of pretty. So I'm going to put a heart there. And let's say I liked this one. Oh, that actually looks really pretty. Like that would be me. This looks very kind of tulip pink and I actually really like that. So, so I can go back and put a heart there. Now, once I put those hearts there, it's going to save it into the favorites here. So I know which ones I've picked. Now let's return and hit refresh. Let's get it into, let's see if it'll do some darker colors here. Like this one. So I can select favorites and there it is right there. So if I was happy with that, I could go stitch that out. You can't add a name of a thread company. So you cannot add a name of a thread company. As far as I know, I could be like totally wrong about that, but as far as I know. Now gradient's cool. So let's select gradient and let's select a color. So kind of like an ombre effect in a way. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Let's do greens. Is it going to let me? Oh, no, this is auto. Let's do manual. Let's select greens. And then what it'll do is come up in different shades of green. Cancel. Cancel. And then soft. Very dainty soft. Oh, so very heirloom looking, very pretty. Like that actually calls to me. I might change a couple things up, but I think that'd be kind of cool. So if you wanted to use that, all you would have to do is hit set and then there it is. Now, if I didn't like that, all I have to do is hit the back button. It'll take me back to where whatever was original. Okay, cool, cool. How did I get Lori to show on your screen? Okay, so we have a settings tab, right? So settings is right up here. Now, what the question is how am I getting my Floriani to show up? Okay, when you go to settings, we'll tap settings, and you see where down here it says thread brand, right there. You just scroll through until you find the thread brand you use. So if I, let's say I've got Madeira, I've got Sulky, Robinson, Isacord, Guterman, Pace, Iris, Floriani. So that's all you got to do, and then push OK. Okay. So the next thing is you might see some things kind of crossed out there. Killing my arm there. Okay. That's because that's for text, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But there's this little icon right here, this little guy right here. What's that? Oh, look at there. I can add automatic stippling right off of this page. That's pretty cool. So I can move the distance, what y'all know I like to do, move the distance away from my design. However, look, if I move it too far away, it's going to break that up. There we go. I can change the spacing, which means that it will be bigger. So let's preview and see what it'll look like. Nice. So you can do that if you want to. So you can really play with that. You can change your hoop size. That's too small. Too small, too small, too small, and perfect. So instead of going to IQ Designer and adding a stipple, I can just do a stipple right off of here. However, this is the only one you can do off the embroidery screen. So let's cancel. And then I am going to go back and get a better shape. So let me go back to that flower. Oh, I'm so used to going to IQ Designer, right? So I'm going to go back and get to that flower again, Asian, this beautiful flower here. All right, so what if I wanted to use, put some different quilting around? Well, in this, since I have IQ Designer, what I'll have is this little flower, and this is my outline tool. And I've done a lot of videos on this, so you can go back and watch those videos. I can set an outline away from my design and then build quilting inside of IQ Designer. All I have to do is hit memory. It'll say where it's going to save it, and then push OK, and it's over in IQ Designer. So in a nutshell, that's what's happening with Edit. And even if you don't have these features here, you still have some great features up here, right? You can still do a lot of cool stuff. Right down here is your select tool. So if I had two designs on the page, what that does is it allows me to jump in between each design. So select, see the red box move? Select, select, select. So let's back up, get that out of there. Oh, wait, let's put that back. The next one is, if I were, again, this is important right here, because I had a question earlier about this, and this is how you're going to do this. What if you need to group these two together? Well, you're going, why? Well, what if you want to put an outline around both of these items? You have to group them in order to do that. Otherwise, let's say I was like, okay, I'm going to quilt. I want these two designs on there, and I'm going to quilt them. Watch what happens if I don't group them. It only pulls up the one flower. So what I want to do is go down here. I want to press this guy right here that has the little pink boxes, say okay, and now they're both selected, but I want to use this icon here to group them. And now when I go to use my outline key, you can see they're both on the screen now. Ready to go. Okay, so let's back out of that. Now, memory or a pocket down here is just that. That means I can save it to the machine's memory, or I can save it to a USB. I can send it wirelessly over to my Palette 11 software. So let's say I was happy with everything. All I would have to do now is go to embroidery. And now this is my embroidery screen. Right now, if you have an Altair Meridian or I'm pretty sure that Destiny has this foot. If it doesn't, you can get this foot on the Solaris. You have this as well. You have this little guy right here. And on some of the other machines, like the Pathfinder or the Aria, you can get the foot for this. This is great. So what this does is it turns on, I have to put the hoop on. But what this does is it puts a little laser light down for perfect placement in your hoop. It's really cool. It's going to tell me the amount of stitches again, how much time, how many colors, the size, all these hoops that I can use. It's going to show me all my colors. But this is where it gets different. This is why this is the final embroidery screen and not the editing screen. Because if I go under layout, I can do a couple different things here. Not a whole lot, but I can do a couple different things. So I can go to move. We can move things around. I can rotate here. I can add a basting stitch. Hot dog, love that. One of my other favorite features. I can tell this to be all monotone, basically all one color, and it would stitch out in all one color. Or let's return here and let's make 2 of these. Bring it up here. Okay. Or I can use this key right here. And what it'll do is it'll take and group all like colors together so it stitches out in sequence versus it's stitching this guy first and then this guy. So what it'll do is it'll stitch this part and this part. And then next part, next part, next part, next part, next part, next part. It's really pretty cool. So let's return and let's get rid of that and go back to embroidery. Okay. So basically, that's all that's happening right in layout. You do have the snowman sticker. We have done some videos on that, so you can always go back and watch that. And let me see something here. The laser embroidery foot is available for the Solaris, as she just bought one. So yeah, you can get the laser light embroidery foot, or you can get the W foot with the laser light for the Solaris too, sure. Okay. Now you have some keys down here. And what are these are all about? Well, let's take a look. So this one right here is really cool, especially if you're going to be quilting in the hoop. Now it has tension. Again, like I tell you guys all the time, I never really mess with tension or density. It's just me. I just don't. But what it does have is in color trim and jump stitch trim. Why is that important in embroidery, or excuse me, in embroidered quilting and embroidered quilting is because I want to turn these off so it doesn't make little knots in my quilt so I can hide my thread. Can you do that again to stitch same colors? Yeah, I'll go back and do that in a minute, Dory. So that's what's really cool about these. But the thing that you need to know, if you turn these off in here by doing this, on your next design, you need to turn them back on. So you just go over here and turn them back on. So that's really cool. Plus minus, very important. So this is where you can either move through your design pieces or sections or colors. You can use the slide here. You can slide it if you want. But let's say you break a thread or your bobbin runs out. This is what you're going to do. You're going to come to, again, you're going to come down here to the plus minus. You are going to minus it 20 stitches. So you would hit minus 10, minus 10. And that's going to go back beyond the part where the thread broke or where your bobbin ran out. And that way it's going to kind of tie off those loose ends. This one right here is just basically if you have your laser, I'm sorry, does it show the laser on this one? No, I think I would have to turn it on. So basically this is just going to show you each part. It's basically going to trace the design, but you have to do it one point at a time. So if you're really trying to get really, really perfectly in a certain spot, that's a great feature. And then this is your other trace here. So it'll actually trace without you having to push each little button. And trace is amazing. What is the laser embroidery foot? Is it an extra foot you buy? Alina, which machine do you have? Because you may already have it. I can take mine off and show you guys. Depending on which machine you have, you may already have the foot. It is basically the W foot, which is the embroidery foot, except for it plugs into the back of the machine. And it literally has a little light on it that helps with placement. It's really cool. I don't know if I can, oh, I got that on there tight. I don't know if I can get that off. Let's see. There we go. All right. So this is the foot here. Let's get a little brighter. So your foot might look like, your embroidery foot might look like this, and it might have a little plug. This has a little laser and it comes in through here, right here, and it shoots down on the fabric. And what it does is it helps with perfect placement. So it's pretty cool. Now, I do know if you buy the Aria, it does not come with it. So I would order that. If you're going to look at the Aria, I would go ahead and get that ordered with your machine because you're going to want it. And then we can save the design right here in this screen as well. But notice we still have that, oh, okay. All right. In this part, this is only going to show us what it looks like in the hoop when we come up to this guy. It's not going to show us the slow redraw. Okay. Your Altair should already have that, Dottie. Look and see if you've got this foot. Hey, let's see. Boop, bit of boop. Where was I? Where was I going with this? I don't know. Okay, let's get us back a little bit more focused here. There we go. That's a little better. All right, so in a nutshell, those are the buttons that are going to be either on or similar, or you may have some, you may not have all of them. But what I want to do is let me show, Dory asked a question about, she has some gray roses. Can you do it in gray? Yes. Okay, so ready, Dory? Here we go. Okay, the laser. Okay, this is how you turn it on, okay? All right, everyone. Let me show you how to turn the laser on. Mine's probably not gonna turn on because it's not on my machine right now. But if you go to embroidery and you push this button, so just push that button. And what will happen is it'll turn on. Okay, cool. Oh, the Spirit has it. Perfect. Okay, like I said, I'm not sure all the machines would have that. Okay, so Dory, let me go back to your gray question. All right, so back in Edit, if we go back to our color chips here, we go to Color Visualizer, we go to Gradient, and then you search down here, make sure it's on manual, search down here for a gray color. So we'll select this one. Doesn't matter, doesn't really matter which gray. And now let's push OK. There's your gray gradient. Okay, here we go. I put a crosshair in the center of my hoop, and the laser is not in the center of the crosshair. I found the adjustment, but can only move in one direction. Should it adjust in both directions? I guess it doesn't matter too much because the light, that's interesting. Let me see here. So did you do this right down here on page, well, I don't know if your pages are going to be different because you have an Altair. Did you do this right here, Susan? You might want to have that checked out if not, if you did it and it's still not working. Does the Altair come with more than one embroidery foot? I don't know. Because I don't know if it's going to come with this foot. Well, it'll come with this foot, but I don't know if it's going to come with a single W foot. I'm really not sure of that answer. So, okay, Susan. Yeah, Susan, if you said you're saying yes. The other thing that you can do, okay, is let's get over here. Let me get some fabric hoop. And I'm going to kind of mock up what you did. So let me grab my marking pen. Okay. So I have a hoop here and I marked 2 spots on it just so I can show you. Dying to see all my, I haven't stitched out any, or I've stitched out a couple of the Asian designs. I really haven't played with them a whole lot. They are beautiful. I think I stitched out that flower and a couple of the beautiful geishas in there. Beautiful designs in there. So let me get my foot back on. I'll get back in so you guys can see. And you may not be able to see the light, but just because it's a camera and cameras act silly. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's go back to our design. All right, so let's say we want to put this on some fabric. I have it marked. I am ready to go. And I go to embroidery and I select the W right up here. So what's going to happen is, to me, there's no such thing as a perfect hooping, okay? Susan, paying attention? And I'll tell you why. Because number one, I want you to look down here. Let's see if I can get this completely in line here. Now, do you notice, I don't know if you can notice, but because I might not have it at the right angle, but we have this little mark here, but this little mark is ever so slightly a hair over. This little hair is the true center. And these little marks are great to use, but you want to use them with your little template piece, because that's going to be off a little bit too. So when you bring the design in and you think you've got everything perfectly centered, you've used everything that you can do, your little guy might be off, right? That's okay. We're just going to go over to the screen. This is how you fix it. You're going to go over to the screen, go to layout, select move. Select move. See, my move is on. I'll come back over here. And then I'm just going to move it into place. So I'll use the little move buttons. And now I'm perfectly in the center of that. Same thing if I had an X over here and I just need to move it over. Oh, it's not going to move over because the hoop's too small. But that's all you have to do is just use your move key to move over. Again, this may not be perfectly centered, or these little guys are deceiving. So I know it's kind of like, what? Really? I thought that was center. Well, it's kind of center. So I would just use your move keys under layout to move that laser over. So hopefully that helped, Susan. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Let me get this back to where, how in the, okay, close your eyes for a minute because I forgot how I had this set up. There we go. Expose it, sure. Oh, anything, anytime, guys. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Like I said, there's a lot of designs in the Solaris that a lot of people would like to have for their Meridian too, or their Altair. That's what makes the machines so special, is they have their own little group of stuff. So, okay, so that was a great question. I'm glad you asked that. Just go back. Does the Altair come? Oh, I've already got that question. Okay. And then was there another? I thought there was another question here. I'm just going through the questions real quickly because I want to move on to the lettering now. Because this could imply to, okay, wait. I use the laser foot all the time whenever my thread breaks, or change my bobbin. Instead of going back 20 stitches when my thread breaks, sometimes I might just be off 5 stitches or less. I will line it up where the thread ends and go back 4 stitches or more. Okay. Do you have on the laser embroidery foot now? Yes. Yep, I do. Okay. So let's go to the home screen, excuse me, and push OK. I'm going to take a little drink here. Not the kind of drink you think I'm talking about. Okay, let's go to embroidery. And let's talk about fonts. So remember I told you there's 2 different types of fonts. We're going to use the regular fonts. So on a lot of your machines, you have fonts. And even if you have a different brand, you've got fonts. So some of this might apply towards you. But let me show you how they look on our Baby Lock machines. So if I wanted to do a name, all I have to do is select a font of choice. Let's do this one. And what I'll do is I'll do one of my niece's names. Her name is Micah. So I'm going to select the first letter, M. Now, this is when I select the first letter is when I kind of need to decide how big it's going to be. Now, you're not going to know the exact size. I mean, you can get an idea. This is, kind of close to 2 inches, right? But if I know that I am going to make a quilt label and I only have so big of a piece of fabric to put it on, then, that might be too big to write out a whole big quilt label. So right down here, or you'll be able to see this somewhere on your machine where it will say LMS. So that means large, medium, small. So with the first, you have to do this with the first letter. So I can either select large, which is already selected, medium, or small. So I'm going to leave it on large right now, and I'm going to finish her name. So I'll go to the lowercase letters and just go Micah. Where's the C? Oh, look, I accidentally put 1 too many letters. Easy. Don't hit this button. It looks like that means the back button. But you just need to select the delete. So A-H. There we go. Okay, so I've got there. Now, if I wanted to add something else, like her middle name, I can then push the enter button and type in the word Diane. So Micah, Diane. There we go. Now, if I was happy with that, I could just go on and push set. But I'm going to erase the last or the second name and just work with the word Micah right now. So what I can do here is I can add numbers. I can add, if you have a name that needs the little, I forgot what they're called. Laura, help me out here. The little, they're not afflictions, but you know what I mean. They're those little things that go, if I need exclamation points or pronunciation or, okay, I'm royally messing up all this English talk, but you know what I'm saying. You got me. Well, I can do that. But if I have, let me go back to having two words. If I need it to all go into a succession, accent, thank you. If I needed to go Micah Diane right next to it, I can just hit the space bar. Or I can hit the enter button. Dang it. Thank you, Julie. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Well, I can play with this a little bit more if I want to from this screen. I can come to this array button and I can make her name go on a slant. I can make her name go on a curve, a very big curve. I guess an inverted curve, going more that way, or straight. But we're going to get into that in just a minute because we'll play with that a little bit more. I can also play with the spacing. If I want to bring the letters a little bit closer together, you know, I can do that by pressing this. I can take this particular letter and move it up. I can go down to this, or I can go to the next one and move it up. So you can see I can really do whatever I want. Let's see. I can also take the word and move it to the center, or I can take these and like adjust them to different areas. But let's say, let's go back. Let me return and start over because I got that. That one's, it's all confusing me now. It's easy to do with me. Let's retype her name. So I can really play with things here, but I like to play with things over in the editing side. It just works better for me. So I'm going to hit set, and now I have a name. I can go up here to the edit, and remember earlier I said these two are taken out of the equation when we don't have text, when we just have a design. Well, here we go. This is where I can play with my text. So I go to the T, and this is where I can really work on this with ease. So let's go to array. Let's curve her name. I can go back, oops, sorry. I can go back to spacing and play with things if I want to. Now that I have it on a curve, I can't move them up and down, but that's okay. But the coolest thing about it is what I really, 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 really like is neat is let's say, you know what, that's really just not the right font for me. So all I have to do is hit the little fonts down here and change the fonts until I get it to where I like it. Isn't that cool? I think that's a really cool feature. There we go. There we go. That's cute. So I can leave it there. Now, what I really didn't go over in detail is how to add a second design. So let's add a second design to this, okay? So we're going to come to add, and then I can choose any design from a USB stick, from built-in, anywhere I want to, wherever you want. So what's something cute we could put? We'll do a kids corner one. I know she's a lot older, but this would be really cute. So let's say I'm making her a cute little bag and I want her name above this penguin right here. So I'm going to select the penguin, hit set. And then all I'm going to do is, do you see the red boxes around the penguin right now? I'm going to hit select until it's around her name. You can vaguely see it. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to move and move it up. And there we go. How cute is that? It's so cute. This is actually a very cute little guy right here. I like him. I haven't stitched him out yet. He's really cute. So you can really play with that now. Now notice something else popped up down here, multicolor. Let's tap on that. So what that means now is when I go to embroidery, oh, change to a larger embroidery. Let me take my frame off. Okay. So what that means when I come here, that each letter is going to stop after each color. So that means I could put a red here when the machine will stop for the I. The I could do a yellow. It'll stop for the C. I can do a blue. I can do an A, which would be really cute, right? Now we could go back and go to our color chips and change the color of each letter, right? That way you could see, but you have to tell it that you're going to do that by tapping the color thing, I'll go back and talk about that. I'll show you again. And I'm just doing weird colors here. So how cute is that? You could really have you could make some adorable stuff. And when you do, you're supposed to post them in this page, right? Okay. So there we go. How cute is that? So fun. So fonts are a great way to play. And can I add more fonts to this? Absolutely. I just go to add. Oops, hit the thing. I'm going to go here. And maybe I want to take another font. Let's take a cute one. And maybe I want that one to say Diane. So we'll say D. Now that one's going to be a little big for me. I can kind of see it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm going to, that's not too bad. We'll do it the sides. Okay, I'm going to hit set. I'll just bring it down so you guys can see it a little bit better there. Now, can I resize that? Yes, a little bit. You can resize them a little bit to kind of get them where you want them. Now, I took it down from to medium, but I'm still going to add a little bit of size to that. Okay, and then I'm going to go to array. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to my text and then array, and I'm going to swoop, wrong one, swoop it up underneath there. And then again, if I want to change the edit, I want to go to multicolor and then come here, and I'm just going to start selecting colors. I'm just going to, got to move on to the next one, right? And the great thing is you can just tap on each letter and get yourself there. Would you just let me do what I want to do? All right, fine. We'll do it this way. D, I, and you can't really see that, sorry. A, and we'll go to the next one in, and let's go up here to, I don't know, blue. Okay. And then there we go. Now I have a cute little thing I can put on a shirt or a bag or a basket or whatever, a quilt. So you could really have a lot of fun with these. So give me some thumbs up if you think that's cool. All right, let's see. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to show you on the Meridian is I'm going to show you the border function because y'all asked about it earlier, and let's do it, right? So let's go to embroidery. Now, what I was talking about, you can do this with almost any design, and I'm saying that almost any design. But let's do this with our built-in decorative stitches. Okay, so let's go pick one that we really like. I think I'm going to go grab those little hearts down there. This one's really pretty stitched out, guys. Really, really pretty. I've done that one before. It's really pretty. But let's get these hearts just because I know they'll show up on the screen really well. Actually, these were cute. Let's select this one. Okay, now once I tap this, what you're going to notice is it comes in literally that small. It's going to come in at one repeat. So what we want to do is hit set, and you're going to see it on your screen. This is how you're going to make a perfect repeat. So you're going to go to edit. We're going to go use our border function here. And the first thing I want to do is, let's say I was going to do it on a set of sheets. I keep putting my hand there, I'm sorry. A set of sheets. So you want it to go down vertically like this, right? So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to move him all the way up. And after hitting or selecting the border function, all I have to do down here is look for some of these tools here. So these are your border function tools. What I want to do is add on to the bottom part. So ready? We're going to hit the plus sign. There's a second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, or maybe I'm off now, 6, 7, 8. So I could at least get 8 in the hoop. Pretty cool. Now what I'm going to do, and this is important when you're going to be joining doing borders. And, you know, we'll have to do a video on this. That would be fun. Maybe a Sunday Night Live. So the next thing I'm going to select up here is I'm going to select this little arrow right here that's pointing down. Now, mind you, before I move on to that, you can take and spread these out a little bit if you want to, or move them back together if you want to. You can really make them look however you want them to look. So I'm going to tap on this guy, and this is going to be my registration marks, because when we go to stitch this out, how in the world are we going to line them up for the next row? Well, there is a thing called registration marks, and those help you line up your designs. So here we go. We're going to select, these are the ones I select. You can put them anywhere you want. But the very first thing we need to do is make sure that not the top one is selected, but the bottom one is selected. So I'm going to use my arrow, and that's very important. And I don't know if you can see a little red box traveling down my flowers, or my heart flowers there, but now I have, and you can barely see it on screen, but a little red box around the last one. So what I want to do is I'm going to place a registration mark here and here. And let's see if we zoom in, we can see those. Zoom, zoom. Let's see how far it'll let me zoom in. Okay. So can you see these little guys right here? Those little bitty marks? Those will stitch out and they're easily removed. But that's how you are going to use, you're going to use your laser light, and you are going to then attach the next, or start with the next row of these. It's really cool. We'll just have to do a Sunday Night Live on it. And there are some amazing videos out there on this already, but definitely we can do that. So if I was ready, all I would have to do is go and stitch this out. You can see my registration marks down at the bottom now here, right? So we would stitch that out, and then we would move our fabric up from the hoop, and we would stitch the next set. And then you would just continue until you were completely done. Now, do I know how to calculate how this is going to work out? Not really. I mean, but you can guesstimate, right? So we've got, this is basically, we can consider this maybe about, I would round it up to 12.5 inches, right? So if I stitch this out 12.5 inches, or I mean, think about, stitch this out and it's close to 12.5 inches, what I would have to do is take that and figure out from the size of the sheet how many times I would have to do that. Does tapping on the first arrow make them all one design? No, it does not. What that does, let me go back and I'll show you that. Okay. No, let me see here. Let me ungroup them. I want to ungroup them. Okay. Let me just kind of go back from the beginning here. If I go to the border function, I'm going to first move him up, and let's add 3. Let's make 3 of them, okay? So once I select that, what happens is a little red box is already automatically up here. If I were to tap on these right now where it's up here, your registration marks would be underneath here, so you wouldn't be able to use them, right? So, but you could put the registration marks here up at the top, but the best place to put them is down here at the bottom. So what that means is I have to move that red box to the last guy right here, and then I can add my registration marks. And again, you can add them anywhere you want. But let me show you something else. Now, when I back out of that is when they group. So did you, you may have not seen that, but what I did is I pushed OK, and now the red box is around them. So watch this. Oh, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me go back. So these now, I can start playing with these guys. So if I tap this now, I can go plus, 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 plus. Now I can make my rows of them just like that. So that's a good question. Would you place the hoop on the registration mark? Would I place the hoop on the registration mark? No, you need, if I understand you correct, no. What you're going to do, if you've ever done any kind of like borders ever in a hoop, what you do is you unhoop the fabric. So let's say this is where my design ended right here. What I would do is unhoop the design. I would get this to, I would move the fabric up until this little part right here, let's call these my registration marks, were about right here. So I would be hooping on the embroidery kind of coming out from here. So it'll make more sense when we do the video. Okay. Well, in the altar, that's about what's happening. But, well, I shouldn't say that. Excuse me, let me say that. In any embroidery, when it comes to the baby locks, you're going to have some of those features, all of those features. So I'm going to cover this up real quick and move this over to the Solaris. But there are a couple extras in the Solaris that those of you who have a Solaris, I think it's only fair to show. So we're going to do that next. So move my camera over here, but let me turn my phone around, or your questions around to me, so that way I can see. Dory, we'll get into that when we do the class, because I would have to really, how far from the edge? It could be as close to the edge as possible. Anywhere you want it. You can make it any way you want to. Excuse me. Okay, I had to take a drink. I'm getting a little parched. Okay, let me show you something here. Speaking of borders, I'm going to put this book right here. And let's see if we can take a look, and I'm going to brighten it up. You see her dress? That's how these were made. They're all matching. That's exactly what they did to make this dress, these designs on this dress. They used the border feature. Pretty cool, huh? I think that's really cool. I think it's beautiful. I don't think they made one in my size, but I'd take one, baby lock. All right, so let's get this all straight so we can see the screen. And those of you who are leaving, thank you so much for coming today. I will see y'all next week. But for my Solaris peeps, you ready? So I'm just going to show you a couple of extra things that you have on your machine. Pretty much everything's the same, except for your screen's going to look a little bit different, right? And is there a glare? Let's get that glare. Maybe if I scooch in front of it here. I think that's a little bit better. Okay. All right. So we have all of our same features here, except for, of course, the designs are going to be different in each machine. So we've got all of our exclusives here. This one really likes me to touch it. I don't know why, but it does. So when you're selecting your designs, you can just scroll through just like this. You've got all your different designs and everything. You also have that second set of designs that have 3 different folders, which I use quite a lot of different things out of here, which are really, really cute. I do love, I'm working on something right now with these guys right here. They're really pretty. So there's some really cool things to play with. You've got your same font, same features. You've got your frames. You've got the same buttonholes, the buttonhole decoration, and your decorative stitches. Pretty cool. But you also have the quilt border feature. This is so yummy. Okay, I love doing this one. This one's so fun. And I'm getting better and better at it each time. So what that means is I can take a quilt from that's up to 108 inches and put a quilt border all the way around. And if you haven't seen it done or you haven't played with it yet, go look for videos. If you're in the Solaris Facebook group, you've seen me do it. Let me grab something here that kind of gives you an idea. I have this little sample here, a couple little samples that I've been working on it. So this guy right here, I don't know if you'll really be able to see, but yeah, let's unexpose it here. There you go. Let's go back to that one. So you can see right here, this is a border that's going around. I just haven't finished it. But there's this really cool thing that I did with it, that I was playing with it. Right here. So here's another border. Right here. And that's all by the embroidery. But take a look at this. So what I did, can you see that? Okay, you can. Is I used the border function. First, I made a small square. Then I made a larger square, and then I used the border function. Well, this is all the border function. Isn't that cool? So you can really play with it and have a lot of fun. And to do that, all you have to do is select one. You're going to hit set, and it's going to ask you a couple different questions. If you're going to do something that's kind of smaller and more, it's basically for smaller things. You can push this one. But if you're going to be doing a larger quilt, you're going to select this one, and it's going to ask you a couple of different dimensions. How wide is the quilt? How long is the quilt? And how wide do you want those borders to stitch out? And you just tell them to do that, or you give them all those answers, and then it'll calculate everything for you. It's pretty darn cool. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize, number one, you couldn't see what I was doing. I apologize. There we go. We're kind of there. So in a nutshell, let me show you that again, since we were kind of off the camera there. So I'll select that one. This one right here is the more square one for smaller items. This one right here is better for the bigger items. This is where it's going to ask you for the quilt width, and then the quilt length, and then the width of your, how wide you want those borders to be. Now it can only go up to close to 4 inches, because that's pretty normal for a border. Some borders are bigger, I know. You also have, if you have upgrade 2, you have double color. There we go. You have a double color, which is really pretty. And that's what I did on this one. So this is pink and purple right here. And then with the upgrade 2, you have, I love this one. You have the hexagon ones, and these are beautiful. So let's see. I have this little guy I can show you on that one. And what I didn't do was do it in good enough colors that you can see, but I did this little hexagon. So I have quilt borders going around here and quilt borders going around here, and they're both embroidered by using this technique. It's just you really can't see it. So you have those are really cool. And then also what you have is the yarn couching, one of my favorite things. It's so, so, so pretty. So yarn couching basically is that you are doing embroidered yarn couching. So let's look at this picture, which is not pretty. There we go. So this is one of them. I got to tuck these tails, but you use the special tool for it, and you just program it in, or push the buttons, and it'll tack down yarn for you in a shape. So that is the double rows, and I've done other ones, but they're so pretty. So, and I believe there's a couple that are double colored, which are, love that. Yeah. Let's see. Was there a double color? Am I just going crazy? Oh, no, like this one's a double color. So you got 2 colors in there. Really fun to do. Lots of fun to do. Now, if we were going to select a design, and let me just pick something smaller. When you select a design, you just tap on it. You're going to have all the same thing that we talked about on the other machine. If we hit set, there's a couple of things that could be different, and let me explain those to you. So when we go to edit, first off, what you're going to notice is down, well, you're not really going to notice it unless you touch it, is if I select the spacing, with the upgrade 1, you also got echoing. So you're able to echo quilt. But with upgrade 2, all your fills from IQ Designer are over here now. So I'm able to come in here, and I don't have to go all the way out to IQ Designer to do this. I can now come here and select, let's do this for the wine glass or the champagne glass or whatever it's called, martini glass, because this would be perfect. That's really cute. Now you can just bring in the IQ fills from this side. So that is with the up. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I just noticed you said that. I apologize, guys. Let's go back. I'll just do it quickly. Okay, so when we were talking about the stipple over on the meridian, that has this. However, you also have the echo, which you can change the size and the spacing of the echo. Of course, we can make it bigger. And remember, it's basically a computer and a digitizer. So it takes a moment to think. There we go. There's cuteness happening there. But looks like very James Bond. But we also have these great fills from IQ Designer that we can select. And the one I selected a moment ago was super cute with this. It's the bubbles. So let's select OK. And let's put this in a smaller hoop so we just can see what it looks like. There we go. This will be cuter. So see how easy? What did I press for the echo? Right up here, this little flower. Yes, another reason for you to, girl, I say do it. I mean, it's got a lot of cool stuff. Now, another thing that's different with the upgrade. So let's say we had, let me see if this is going to work, because I know it works with some things. So let's bring this cake in. Oop, I grabbed the wrong thing. I shouldn't have done that. Let's get everything backwards. Let's use my select key. This is another reason why to use your select key, because I keep doing that. And your move keys too. So let's go to move, just so I can move it out of the way and you can see it. Okay, so we're just going to move it right here. Okay. Now, what if, right now, well, let's look at the stitch out. Okay, so right here, let's see what's going to stitch out first. So what's going to stitch out first is this cup. Let's return here. Let's go. Actually, sometimes it's easier to look in the color sequence to see how things are going to stitch out. So the cup's going to stitch out first, then the bubbles, and then the cake. But what if for some strange reason I wanted the bubbles to stitch out first, then the cup, then the cake? Well, you have this button now here with the upgrade. And what you can do is, oh, these are grouped. So I mean, ungroup everything. Okay. There we go. Now what you can do, like I said a minute ago, what if I want this to stitch out first to tack down my fabric and get it nice and quilted before I stitch this guy out in the middle so I don't have any puckering hair? Well, all I have to do is select this guy and I take and I move him up. And now I can change the order of stitching. Now, can I break this guy up and change the order of stitching? Meaning instead of the black, and the red going first and the black going on top of the hearts? No, you cannot do that. You can't break up a design and change it that way. But when you have multiple designs that are different, you can change the order of them. So again, let me show you what I did. I'm just going to put it back. So I'm going to go back to the order. And at first, it's going to be this martini glass. I keep calling it something that's not. I think it's a martini glass. Then we have the bubbles. And then we have the cake. Well, for me as a quilter, I would want to do the quilting first and then put these two guys down, right? So I want to move this guy up before the martini glass. So I have to make sure he is selected, or that one, I can leave that one selected and move it down, but it's going to move it to the bottom. So see, and then move it up. So now I have the stitching order of the bubbles, then the martini glass, and then the cake. Pretty cool. Love it. All right, so let's say we were happy with that, right? Let's grab a hoop. Which hoop do I need? The largest hoop. Okay. Actually, let's take some of the elements out. We're just going to have the martini there. And what size do I? Can I use this guy? Oh, let's grab our other hoop here. Now, these are the other features that you have that you can use. Okay. So if I want to go to embroidery and I want to, first off, take a picture of what's in my hoop. So all I have to do right here is hit the little camera, hit scan. And now what it's going to do is take a picture of what's in my hoop. And this is really, really helpful for placing designs. Now, I'm using a white fabric, so we can't see the background very good. So that wouldn't be good for me, would it? Okay, so I'm going to turn that background image off and say, well, what else can I do to really see where I scan? Well, what about this little projector? So let's take a look and let's see if it'll show up for you. Now you're going to get a wiggle just because that's how things work on cameras. But can you see my design there? So if I take and I move my box up, can you see the design? It's showing me an exact size and in real time what that design is going to look like on my fabric. Now, if there were two colors, it would show two colors. This is a one color design, but I can look at the whole thing by using the projector just by moving it down and around. And let me show you how I'm doing that now. Okay, you just take this box with your fingers and move it up. And wherever the box is where you're going to be able to see your design. Is that so cool or what? I can change the background, and the background's going to change on the camera, not on the screen. So if I'm using a, let's say, I don't know, too dark of a fabric, I can use the white. I can just do whatever I want. I can even tweak things here if I want to. But yes, now all of you are asking, well, can I have that for my Solaris or have the special foot for my Solaris? You actually don't need it. You just need your regular W foot, this guy right here, and there's your laser light right there. So you just turn it on and it'll come on. Since there's a camera built into your machine, you don't need the special foot. You're just going to use your regular W foot. And that's it. So in a nutshell, although there is so much more that you can do with your Solaris, in a nutshell, that's basically some of the cool features in the embroidery side. So let me switch you over to me. Let's hope I don't get too much glare. Woo, that was a long one, huh? But there's so much to show you with the embroidery of our machine. There's so much to learn, and it may seem daunting at first, but don't let it. Learn one thing at a time. You don't have to learn everything right here and right now. What you're going to do is you can just sit down and work on one area at a time. And you know we're here to help you. It's what we do. Let me see if there's any questions. Oh, that would mean I have to put my glasses back on. It is a clever machine, isn't it? Yes, it is. I think I got caught up with all the questions. So, as you know, we do this every Sunday night, different topic every Sunday night. So I hope to see you guys again next week at, oh wait, is that Easter? If it's Easter, we're probably not going to have it. So I think it is Easter. Somebody tell me that I'm right. Lots more to learn and lots to remember. Take it one step at a time. That's how I've done it. And if it's Easter next weekend, I'm sorry I'm so bad at that, then I hope you guys have a happy Easter. We'll come back the next Sunday. But I do hope you have a great week. And if I don't see you next weekend, have a great following week, and we'll be back very soon. Maybe I'll jump on another day or another evening. So remember, tonight is Missy Billingsley's weekly live. So make sure to go to her page and watch what she's going to be doing tonight. I'm not sure what she's doing, but I'm sure it's something awesome. And again, if Missy's listening, thank you for your help earlier today. And thank you guys for coming. Thank you for joining. And I hope to speak to you guys soon, and have a great week. Great next week. Happy Easter. And remember to shop local, shop small. And I will see you guys soon. Have a great week. Remember to post up anything that you do, because I love seeing what you do. Okay. Bye, guys.